Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the letters in between, plus, a warm welcome to the University of Johannesburg A.W. Miller Stadium. We are all gathered here today for the Total Energies Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations COSAFA Qualifiers 2024. Up next is match number 18 between South Africa and Mauritius, and this is how the two teams will start this match. Starting with the South African team, jersey number 14, Letonola Musia, captain of the team, jersey number 2, Steve Palmer, jersey number 4, Hayden Boysen, jersey number 8, Royce Malachi, jersey number 9, Apelele Majola, jersey number 11, Piwa Mlondo, jersey number 12, Lebohang Gambini, jersey number 13, Umpemet Zikoto, jersey number 15, Neo Boshuku, jersey number 17, Tashil Ruknanan, and jersey number 19, Nkaniso Matasha. The substitutes for South Africa, jersey number 1, Randy Sokatievi, jersey number 3, Fumulani Kunu, jersey number 5, Bukamo Somo Kokosi, jersey number 6, Kamuhelo Maralesi, jersey number 7, Selvin Stevens, jersey number 10, Emil Vetboy, jersey number 16, Luke Holden, jersey number 18, Dewo Mlangeni, and jersey number 20, Kayaletu Msmela. The coach for South Africa is Coach Bella Kumano. Moving over to Mauritius, jersey number 1, Corneli Mateo Morgan Augustine. Jersey number 2, the captain of the team, Jean Aldo Ravina. Jersey number 3, Emmanuel Eli Dori Loren. Jersey number 8, Krishmish Julian Noah Barabe. Jersey number 9, Nicholas Patrick Brendan Fano. Jersey number 12, Jaren Ashton Pire. Jersey number 13, Louis Nigel Noah Marie. Jersey number 14, Emmanuel Santi Anela Anna. Jersey number 15, Ange Valia. Jersey number 18, Noah Vincent Andy Parabe. Jersey number 20, Nigel Morgan Madar. The substitutes for Mauritius, jersey number 4, Wade Darren Olivine. Jersey number 6, Aaron Clifford Minga Fong Leon. Jersey number 7, Ashwin Shabani Sunati. Jersey number 10, Jim Jesus Christ Alexandra Boulier. Jersey number 11, Elinio Agate. Jersey number 16, Yani Shelley Adonai Rabu. Jersey number 17, Davy Samuel Steven Bihari. The coach for Mauritius is Coach Abu Twali Fatamonde. Your team of match officials for this match number 18 clash. The referee in the middle is Chola Chansa from Zambia. First assistant is Warren Mulenga, also from Zambia. The second assistant is Dorcas Woodworth Chanson from Botswana. And our fourth official for this match is Mohamedi Tabulkhan from Botswana. This is the Total Energies Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations COSAFA Qualifiers 2024.
South Africa versus Mauritius. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff in Group C, the last group match for both South Africa and Mauritius. It's first place against third in the group. South Africa already have 6 points, Mauritius just the one after being defeated by Botswana in the last round. Thank you. Hello again from UJ's A.W. Miller Stadium. It's the final match of Group C, the final match of the group phase that pits high flyers South Africa against a winless Mauritius. It's first versus third in Group C, guaranteed semi-finalists versus an already eliminated and departing Mauritian team. On the surface, South Africa should breeze past Mauritius, but you can never really tell, especially because both of their fates have already been written and fought for. The Total Energies Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations COSAFA Qualifiers have been captivating from the very first kickoff on Wednesday afternoon, and now 5 days on and 16 matches in, fatigue may have set in, but the hunger remains, a hunger to impress and to announce oneself in a very historic event. South Africa beat Botswana by 4-0. They beat Comores by 3-0. Stevens starred in those two matches, but he's been given a rest this afternoon against this Mauritian team. And Anna, the number 14 there, has been instrumental for them, especially in the 0-0 draw against Comores. But against Botswana, they really were quite poor compared to their first outing, so they'll be hoping for a much improved display in their third and final group match. Their fate may have already been sealed, but they can still play with a lot of pride, purpose and passion against the very strong, one of the favorites of the tournament, South Africa. And here they come, led out by the flag bearers and the CAF anthem ringing around in the ground. South Africa versus Mauritius is the final group match of the COSAFA Under-17 Championship. So strap in to delve into one last group matter before the ignition of the knockout rounds on Wednesday afternoon. 12 teams enter this competition with high expectations and higher hopes, but 8 of those teams, including Mauritius, have succumbed to elimination. So for the Island Boys, this match is a matter of pride, while South Africa are eager to conjure up their third victory on the bounce. But before we hop into the contest between SA and Mauritius, it's about that time for the singing of the respective national anthems. Always a matter of so much pride.
And now the national anthem of South Africa.
Hosts are back. Amajimbos adore a home competition, but how will they conclude their group campaign? Mauritius also crave their first victory of the competition, so this should be an enticing battle between SA and Mauritius. Vela Kumalo is stretching his squad today with the introduction of 7 new faces and 7 new starters. Mosia replaces Hadebe between the posts, and there's 2 lads from Cape Town and 2 local lads in the back line. Royce Malachi and Lamini, both of Kaizer Chiefs, start in the midfield instead of Maraletse and Mlangeni. Going through the pre-match ritual, the pre-match prerequisites before they delve deep into this contest. Neo Butloko, as well as Mlondo, are the only two attackers to have retained their starting slots for South Africa. But for Mauritius, just like his coaching counterpart, Abu Twaleb has made a few eye-catching alterations. Aaron Fong Leong, Vial, Kerwin Hortzans and Elinho Agat dropped to the bench. So an opportunity has been presented to Balia, Nigel Made, Pamase and Fano, who has seemingly fully recovered from his injury. The officials for this bout: the lead referee is Chola Chanta of Zambia. She's assisted by Warren Mulenga, Dorcas Chense, as well as Mohamedi Tabologang of Botswana, who will serve as the fourth official. And the two captains just meeting in the center and exchanging pennants. Before the Mauritian under-17s depart and return home, they can possibly inflict some damage on the psyche and the confidence of South Africa. Mauritius were adequate in their first outing against Comores, totally underwhelming in their second outing against Botswana. So what version of themselves will they reveal to us today? South Africa, Amajimbos, are adamant to remain perfect in this competition. But before they enter into the belly of the beast, the semi-final stage of this competition, it's momentum that they really seek, and a resounding victory over Mauritius will most certainly amplify their confidence of achieving a place in the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. But unfortunately for Mauritius, that dream has been shot down by Botswana, so they'll be playing with and for pride. South Africa remain top of Group C, Botswana are second, Mauritius are third, with Comoros at the bottom. Those two sides are on a point apiece. South Africa hope to make it 3 wins from 3, just like Zambia did in the earlier clash against Eswatini, which was a tight affair. A tight affair that many did not expect. Eswatini put up a really good fight against the fully fit, fully firing Zambian front line, and they did well to keep the scoreline down to just 1-0. But how will Mauritius fare against South Africa? A much changed South African outfit. So the stage has been set. Only a few seconds remain before impact. And all eyes on this very interesting battle between South Africa and Mauritius. It's not consequential, but it is oh so important for momentum before South Africa enter the semi-finals on Wednesday, and before Mauritius head home. They'll likely want to impress on this very historic stage. Rugunanan gets his first start of the tournament, does the Kaizer Chiefs left back. Palmer of Cape Town City is on the other side. Boyson, also hailing from Cape Town, plays his club stuff for Ubuntu Cape Town. Finds himself in the heart of that South African defense together with Makasha. They started on the front foot against both Botswana and Comores. Can they do so this afternoon, Amajimbos? Mlondo also gets his first start of the tournament. He was really eager, really hungry for a goal in the first 2 matches. Had quite a few opportunities to nail in a strike. So he'll be up for this challenge. Mlondo of Mamelodi Sundowns. Rugunanan does well. And there's a crucial touch in there from Fano of Mauritius. Long before this competition was sparked into being, many were expecting South Africa to be there and thereabout when the semi-finals came calling. The hosts have nailed in 7 goals so far, and they have an insatiable appetite to score goals and to sprinkle their quality. But will that be the case today against Mauritius, where the motivation might not be as high? Early opportunity for Amajimbos, fell to one of the goal scorers of the last match, Sekhoto, who is only 14 years of age. Currently belonging on the books of Mamelodi Sundowns is Sekhoto. There's actually 3 14-year-olds that are starting this match for Amajimbos, together with Sekhoto, it's Makasha in defense, as well as Apelele Majola, also of Mamelodi Sundowns. And there's also been a change in the goalkeeping department for Amajimbos. Mosia comes in for SuperSport United's Hadebe, who started the first 2 group matches. And Mosia plays his club stuff for the University of Pretoria. Royce Malachi to Dlamini. 2 Kaizer Chiefs centre halves / midfielders as well. They are so versatile. There could be a chance for Mauritius. Well dealt with by Makasha. Dlamini. Rugunanan availed himself to Boyson. A handful of teams, but most significantly, Zambia will be keeping a close eye on this matter, seeing that they will meet Amajimbos in one of the semi-finals on Wednesday, which has already become one of the most anticipated semi-finals in the 30-year history of this competition. Londo fails to keep that one within the playing lines. And hearts may have been broken yesterday as eliminations were confirmed, but Mauritius have gotten to grips with their unfortunate reality, and all they can really do is end off their campaign with a bit of grit and maybe some style as well. Balia gives chase. The first 2 men's matches of the day yielded 9 goals, 8 of which were scored in Pimville, as Zimbabwe and Namibia played out to a thrilling 4-4 draw. So the current lay of the land in Group B, Zambia is of course through with their 9 points from their 3 matches. Zimbabwe and Namibia are on 4 points apiece, but Zimbabwe have a better goal difference. So it's going to be between Zimbabwe and Botswana for that best place runner-up finish for the final spot in the knockouts. If Botswana defeat Comores, then they will progress together with South Africa from Group C into the knockout stage. But if they lose, then Zimbabwe will progress. And mind you, if they draw as well, Botswana will progress because their goal difference is better than that of Zimbabwe. Zambia have unbelievably scored 13 goals in this tournament, hence why the goal differences of Zimbabwe and Namibia are so low. Here's Royce Malachi. It's been a real great watch this season in the GDL for Kaizer Chiefs, Royce Malachi. But he's beaten to it there by Nigel Marday. Mauritius didn't offer up much, if anything, against Botswana, who scored in the first half, very early on in the first half against them, and then scored their second against Mauritius very late on with only seconds left on the clock. And Abu Twaleb Fatima Mone would have been really disappointed with the output his troops afforded in that second group clash. They need to tackle South Africa with a little bit more belief, just like Eswatini tried to do against Zambia in the 12 o'clock noon kickoff. Makasha took a ball. Tumlondo here for South Africa. Could have gone to ground, but did really well to stay on his feet. Neil Buhloko, nice little 1-2. South Africa may be in here. Buhloko might have just gotten a stud or 2 on that one, and it's well kept in by Rugunanan. Foul. Clear foul. Chola Chansa on the scene. Anahal Anna is a bit of a bombastic midfielder, and he just timed his challenge that little bit wrong. So Rugunanan and Royce Malachi are in discussion. How will South Africa look to attack this free kick chance? Two Kaizer Chiefs players hovering over the football. Could be the left boot of Rugunanan or the right boot of Royce Malachi. And the referee is finally happy. No skirmishes or pushing and shoving in the box. Blows his whistle. And here we go then. Free kick chance for Amajimbos. It's going to be Royce Malachi towards the far post. Really good delivery in. Pinpoint. Accurate ball in. And it's been tucked away from the captain on the day, Palmer. Arrived late around the back and not at home. A brilliant ball in from Royce Malachi. It's been given the captain's armband by Vela Kumalo. And South Africa are off to a flying start against Mauritius from a simple set piece. But that delivery from Royce Malachi, a real joy to behold. And a clever header from Palmer, just nodding it across the face into the opposite corner of the net, and celebrates appropriately with the assist maker. That'll settle the nerves and boost the confidence of Amajimbos. And not an ideal way to concede for Mauritius. Ashton Pierre. Here's Royce Malachi for South Africa. Nondo. Angola were the first nation to officially book their place in the knockouts. And if South Africa just avoid a big defeat here, then they will definitely meet Zambia in the semi-finals. And maybe, just maybe, even Angola in the final. But for now, all of their efforts will pour into this matter against Mauritius. Just like Zambia did in the match before, South Africa have secured a first half goal. Dlamini. Great take from Rugunanan. It's a scintillating delivery and switch across the face. Another chance there. Neo Butloko is never, ever going to miss an opportunity like that, and South Africa are off. South Africa are playing some sweet stuff in Auckland Park this afternoon. Rugunanan getting in on the action, and the man that just can't stop scoring, the goal addicted Neo Butloko, nails in another. It's his second goal of the COSAFA Under-17 Championships, and he took it quite well. Great endeavor from Sekhoto. Tida Butloko, who just slotted away with ease. Hardly 10 minutes of football have been played, and South Africa have already secured an unassailable 2-goal advantage over Mauritius. Because of this fast start, you're led to believe that things could get quite ugly if Mauritius don't sharpen up at the back. But South Africa have a tendency to be relentless. And their intention here is to lay down a massive statement to Zambia. Palmer, scorer of the first goal, gives the ball away to Nigel Made of Mauritius, who's dispossessed by Royce Malachi. So now South Africa are definitely guaranteed to finish on top of the Group C pile. And even if Botswana claim a gargantuan win over Comores, the goal difference of Amajimbos is simply far too superior. Dlamini to the Rolls Royce. That is Royce Malachi. Just got it wrong there. Balia. It's a nice take from Balia. But South Africa sniff out the danger. Rugunanan has been quite active on this left-hand touchline. And Vela Kumalo would be really pleased. He rung the changes for this match. Some of his other star boys are on the bench, the likes of which include Unu, Mokokosi, Maralitse, Stevens, and of course Emil Witboy. And this time, the changes have yielded 3 goals in rapid time for South Africa. They just can't get enough. Scores his second of the tournament. Does Sekhoto. 14-year-old will likely feature in the next under-17 COSAFA Championship, but he's certainly starring in this one. South Africa have been absolutely unforgiving in this match. Fell to Majola. The two 14-year-olds, the two Mamelodi Sundowns teammates combining with one another, and that really is an emphatic finish. Took his time, poised himself before he delivered another killer blow to Mauritius. Giddy as can be is Sekhoto. And you really do feel for Mauritius now, staring down the barrel of what could easily become an embarrassing defeat. In the ladies segment earlier on, we saw Mauritius, actually Zambia, defeating the Mauritian ladies team by 10 goals to 0. Makasha just scanning the options that lies ahead of the young centre half. Rugunanan tries an eloquent turn. Mauritius are going to make a very early substitution, probably the earliest substitution that I've ever seen in my life, not due to injury. Bihari did start their first 2 matches, and it'll feel for him as though he's going to play the full match for Mauritius. Basically is exactly that for Bihari, who's eager to come on. The 4th official just telling him to hold on a second, and then he eventually enters the fray, does Bihari. The A.W. Miller Stadium hosts its final match of the tournament. Semi-finals and final will be staged in Soweto, which is such a shame because this is such a picturesque venue and the surface has played so well and it's been so smooth. The grass definitely looks in better shape to what we've witnessed at the Soweto ground. Not a lot of dry patches on this turf, but plenty of stars on it. First quarter of an hour in the bank, and South Africa are already 3 goals beyond Mauritius. So Amajimbo seeking their biggest victory in this competition so far. And just like what was evident in Group B, there's this massive chasm of quality between the top side in Group C, which is South Africa, and all the rest. There's a Grand Canyon-like gap of class between South Africa and Mauritius so far. And they are showing no signs of slowing down. Now Amajimbos, Royce Malachi, challenges in the sky. Rugunanan, neat stuff from Rugunanan, neater stuff from Mlondo. Good burst of speed from him as well. 3 players in the box to pick out, but he is crunched. Absolutely crunched by Noah Marie. Now that's a sliding challenge every old school defender will enjoy to watch back. Augustine, feel for this Mauritian goalkeeper. As the captain of South Africa, Palmer, tries to cushion his header down to Dlamini. Does break for Dlamini. Referee signals a free kick in the opposite direction for Mauritius. Much needed reprieve for them. They've only really done defending in this first half. It's taken by their captain, Ravina, who's been really impressive for them so far in this tournament, both against Comores and Botswana, but especially in their first group outing. Offered up so many crucial blocks and interceptions. Anna does well there to beat Royce Malachi and then goes to ground. Play continues, advantage here for Mauritius. Looked like a promising moment. Here's Sekhoto. Bit of a wayward touch again from Dlamini this time. Musia, he'll be hoping for a quiet afternoon and a clean sheet, of course. South Africa are blessed with three really talented goalkeepers. Luke Holden is yet to get a kick, is yet to make a save for South Africa in this tournament. Another Mamelodi Sundowns Academy prospect. Mauritius might be presented here with their first real chance of the match so far. Anna feeling something in his inside thigh region. And walks gingerly behind Mlondo. So it looks like the substitute, Bihari, has placed this ball down, which is always an indicator of who is to take the free kick. South Africa lined up across the face of the 18-yard box. And Bihari is in charge of this set piece for Mauritius. Good ball in towards Ravina. Boyson repels it. Does drop again for Anna. What a switch that is, but it should be an offside call. Indeed it is, against Palmasa. South Africa in a rush, in the mood. Mlondo is fouled. Clear nudge in his back from Ashton Pierre, who didn't start the last match. It was the only change, in fact, Abu Twaleb Fatima More made from the Comoros game to the Botswana one. But he's back in the starting 11, is Ashton Pierre. Similar to this competition and the men's segment, the Under-17 Girls COSAFA Championship is also starting to heat up and finalize its 4 semi-final participants. It seems like the ladies' teams of South Africa and Zambia are also destined to square off in the knockouts. Their histories have been intertwined throughout the 30-year history of this competition. South Africa won the first edition in 1994 when it was hosted by this very nation. Can they do so again in 2024? Remember, they just need to win that semi-final in order to book their seats in the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. And last time out, during the last Under-17 AFCON, it was South Africa and Zambia that progressed together. This time in 2024, it has to be one or the other. So how do Mauritius find a route back into this contest? Will it be through Nigel Made, Pamase, or perhaps even Balia? But it's difficult to see as of right now how they are going to unlock the South African defense as Royce Malachi comes crashing down back to the earth. South Africa wanted to play But that's a really harsh return to the surface, but he was tackled from behind from Fano. A knee in his mid to lower back. It's always extra nasty when you face a challenge, when you least expect it, and Royce Malachi certainly didn't expect Fano to come in from behind. Good number of supporters have come into this ground. That's the Zambian group. Watching this match, of course, with great intrigue. And the hosts definitely do attract some of the bigger crowds in this tournament so far. But that's certainly not surprising at all, considering that they are the hosts and considering that many of the players are actually local lads. Rugunanan, so South Africa just down to 10 men, as you can see. Royce Malachi stationed alongside the fourth official, Mohamedi Tabologang. Quite a nice match to referee so far. No controversial calls or massive collisions. We didn't see a single yellow card in the earlier collision between Zambia and Eswatini, which was quite surprising considering that just yesterday, especially in the match between Angola and Mozambique, was riddled with yellow cards. Now that did seem like a purposeful handball from Ravina, and as soon as I was talking about the lack of yellow cards today, there's the first one. Deliberate handball in the eyes of the referee. Jean Aldo Ravina, the captain of the Island Boys, booked. And that was clever, because the ball was going to go over his head and Majola might have gone in behind. We all know what happened from this similar range, this similar placement of free kick. Palmer creeped around the back and Royce Malachi found him with ease, found him brilliantly. But because of the scoreline, will they be a little bit more self-centered? Who is to know? Might even be taken by Rugunanan. Goes over the ball, does Rugunanan, and it's drilled by Royce Malachi. The wall serves its function for Mauritius. He did go for all the glory himself. Oh, I think it's Boyson in the box here for South Africa, just outside, should I say. Indeed it is Boyson, holding on to his face. And this is how it happened. Well, as you can clearly see, the ball was nowhere near his face. Hayden Boyson will likely look to produce a sturdy display at centre half, due to the fact that Mokokosi and Unu, as well as Mzimela, have been afforded a rest. Mzimela is in actual fact the only player in the South African squad that plays his club football for the British Football Academy, which is based in Pinetown. So Boyson on the sidelines. South Africa defending with one centre half, but Mauritius unlikely to attack. Sturdy challenge from Makasha. He'll have to produce another. Anna giving, or receiving, should I say, a last warning from the referee, Chola Chansa, who is of Zambian descent. Royce Malachi. Royce Malachi has played in a plethora of positions for his club team. We saw him play at right back for South Africa in their first group match against Botswana. Today he's in his position of strength, one would say, in the midfield. Palmer. Always looking to get beyond on the overlap. It's always on for South Africa. Malachi lifts his head. Rugunanan, it's a great spread. And then Rugunanan looks for that switch. Mauritius wants a throw in. Mauritius get to throw in. Gone across the face there from Fanor to Noah Marie. Now Anahal Anna. Ashton Pierre. Mauritius might be playing themselves into some trouble here. In your face pressing from Royce Malachi. It's caused them to take a knock in the region where it can be very painful. Here's Fanor though for Mauritius. Chance then, good block from Boyson. Was stationed literally in front of his goalkeeper Mosia. And just like that, like a flash of lightning, a real chance was presented to Mauritius. A real chance was presented to Palmase. Great work from Fanor. Boyson was where he needed to be. Anahal Anna looks for the spectacular. Well blocked from the attacker and the third goal scorer from South Africa, Sekhoto, who also scored the third goal against Comoros. We were wondering whether or not Holden or Mosia were going to get the nod in this match. And it's Mosia that starts between the sticks. Prevented from making a save due to the frame of Boyson. Here's Balia. Came off Palmer last there. Dlamini. He left Royce Malachi short there with that pass. The number 9, Fanor, unable to make the most of that loose ball from Dlamini. Here's Boyson. South Africa have taken their foot off the gas that ever so slightly now that they've secured a really impressive 3-goal lead over Mauritius. Rugunanan, he's been South Africa's outball for the most part so far. Royce Malachi. Dlamini from left to right. South Africa go. Palmer, now Sekhoto, who passes it back to Palmer. This is excellent control that South Africa are establishing. Mlondo gets the return ball. Great feet from Mlondo. Was trapped under his feet actually, and then did well to find a route through. And then he was tackled there from Ravina, who, remember, has already been booked. So Royce Malachi tried his luck a few moments ago. Rugunanan has been desperate to take one of the free kicks for South Africa, but he's been sent away. Now the DDC star, Neo Butloko, may even take this free kick and try and rifle it into the top corner. Shoaib Walters is on his feet, which is peculiar because South Africa are not defending. Mosia is not in action. Shoaib Walters is, of course, the goalkeeping coach for Amajimbos. will be Neo Butloko. Too much elevation. Kumalo has definitely assembled a star-studded former pro lineup with Thabo Mngomeni, the former Umtata Bushbucks Ridge, and Orlando Pirates midfielder Shoaib Walters, as I said, who enjoyed his most successful club spell with Maritzburg United. And who can forget, of course, Renilwe Letsolonyane, who accumulated 50 caps for Bafana Bafana during his playing days, and really was a marvel to watch for both Kaizer Chiefs and Supersport United. And they've done really well with this young crop of South African players. Former pros lending their knowledge, lending their expertise to the next generation. To perhaps the next Bafana Bafana group. And speaking of Bafana Bafana, they will take part in next year's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. And the young lads are seeking to follow in their footsteps. They are on course to doing so, but it's the match with destiny that lies ahead with Zambia. And how Anna for Mauritius in the meantime. Still on the ball is Anna. Really good delivery in there. Delivered across the face. Musia remained in his goal mouth. From that bit of enterprising play from Anna, Mauritius have a chance perhaps to draw one back. Unlikely to get anything from this match, but they can get a goal. It's good defending from Rugunanan. And then an attempt from afar is repelled. Ashton Pierre goes back to his goalkeeper, Augustine, puts his laces through it. Here's Boyson, South Africa not minding too much to knock it amongst themselves. Definitely trying to draw those Mauritian attackers and midfielders out of position. And their passing accuracy has to really be above 85%, one would say at least. They've really been told to be pinpoint, accurate in everything they do. And so far, they really do deserve to be 3 goals up against Mauritius. Seem as if they are going to leave this competition with only that 1 point, with only that 1 draw against Comores. Final 10 minutes interval to come in this first half. And one just senses that there's at least going to be a few more opportunities before the half-time whistle is blown by Chola Chansa. Rugunanan. Mlondo was in close proximity, so was Neo Butloko, and so was Lamini. So it's been quite easy, far too easy, one would say, for Zambia and South Africa to sail to the top of their respective groups. The biggest challenge of their young lives will take place on Wednesday afternoon. Remember, there will be a break tomorrow. No football will take place. It will serve as a bye, and it will serve as an opportunity for the 4 semi-finalists to recover and then prepare for a very significant match. Whereas Malachi just stabs it to Dlamini. Here's Neo Butloko. He's been on the fringes, actually, of the Kaizer Chiefs first team. He's travelled with the first team in some of their pre-season matches, as well as some of those informal tournaments. The Kaizer Chiefs did win the other day against Mamelodi Sundowns in the Eastern Cape. Mozambique, throughout this tournament, have been quite a physical side. But that physicality has not exactly come to the fore this afternoon against South Africa. We saw Comores being exceptionally physical against South Africa, realizing that that's one way to stop Amajimbos. You certainly can't allow them to play their stuff with freedom. There's a certain fluidity to South Africa, a fluidity that we haven't really seen from any other side, barring Zambia, of course. So Angola still are yet to find out who they will play against in the semi-final on Wednesday. South Africa very well aware of their opponents. And this match is a bit of a training exercise for them. It does have the feel of a bit of a training match. Nigel Made, the forward, the man that was supposed to lead the line in Mauritius, for Mauritius should I say, in this first half, hasn't done so as of yet. Dlamini, great little turn. Wonderful spread from Dlamini. Palmer can't find Sekhoto. Balia for Mauritius. And then Bihari also tries to pirouette himself out of trouble. It's been really difficult for Mauritius to play between the lines, find a gap in the South African system. It's a really well-disciplined, well-coached Amajimbo side. The coach, Vela Khumalo, was alongside Molefi Nseki when South Africa qualified for their first Under-17 FIFA World Cup in 2015. So he really has good knowledge of youth football in South Africa. Also coaches, of course, Kaizer Chiefs in the DDC. So he's very well aware of the local talents. And you wouldn't really have anyone else in charge of the Amajimbo side than Vela Khumalo. Rugunanan lets himself down with that first touch. Dlamini throws himself to ground, but rolls right back up. Balia, 40.5 minutes, nearly on the clock. South Africa, 3 goals ahead of Mauritius. 3 very quick goals that were scored in the first quarter. Goals from Butloko, Sekhoto, and of course Palmer. Rugunanan. The last time South Africa hosted this competition, only 4 teams took part due to stringent lockdown restrictions, and those 4 teams were South Africa, Zambia, Angola, and Malawi. And 3 of those teams are going through to the next stage in this event, 4 years down the line. So it's just funny how history has a tendency to repeat itself. Dogged work there by Palmer. Must have been really excited to wear the captain's armband for South Africa this afternoon for this clash. And he's played with a whole lot of excitement, has Palmer. The same can also be said for the likes of Royce Malachi, Dlamini, Butloko. We haven't seen too much of Majola, although he did produce the assist for Sekhoto, the 3rd goal scorer. Asha. Rugunanan. Header just lacked the legs. Noah Marie played in the centre-half position in their group opener, did Noah Marie, but he's finding himself now in the midfield trenches where it's proven to be immensely difficult for Mauritius to grab a hold of not only the first ball, but the second and third balls as well. Boyson. South Africa have a stranglehold over this match. They have a stranglehold over Mauritius. And they would have definitely extracted and learned so much from Bafana Bafana this calendar year. And unlike in years gone by, people are starting to pay a lot more attention and give a lot more emotion to South Africa's national teams. And that's testament to the excellent work of a lot of key role players. Starting from the top to the bottom. Anahal Ana. And then Ravina's clearance comes off the feet of Neo Butloko. Started to play in the Diski Challenge when he was only 15 years of age. That's a great ball from Royce Malachi. Such a difficult technique that he's able to pull off with ease. Palmer will just shepherd that one out of play. Now Dlamini again. Abu Twaleb Fatima Mori, the coach of Mauritius, is trying his utmost best to motivate his troops, to usher them to where they need to be on the field of play. But they've been playing second fiddle in almost every single department in this game so far. That is likely to continue in the second half. Might Velo Kumalo turn to his bench, or will he look to protect the likes of Emil Witboy and Kamohelo Mareletse and Bokamaso Mokokosi? Only time will tell. Anahal Ana. Ashton Pierre does well for Mauritius. It breaks here for Nigel Made. Then Ashton Pierre. And then he went to ground. Did Pamase. Second time that he's found himself in a very promising position in the box of South Africa, but unable to grab a hold of the ball and stick it away. Just like the first match between Eswatini and Zambia after the first half, 3 minutes have been added on for stoppage time. Majola does really well there, as does Rugunanan, but the delivery needs to be a good one, and it is. It's well cleared from Balia. He wasn't aware of the runner behind him, but made good, solid contact on his clearance. Dlamini to Palmer, teasing Balia a little bit. South Africa totally bossing possession. Wonder what the possession stats will look like. Majola to Palmer. He's a really good operator in those pockets of spaces in and around the penalty area is Majola. Does so for both club and country. And Fanon just wallops it beyond the halfway line. Fatigue is definitely set in for Mauritius. Look at how slow and staggered they are. But as for South Africa, constantly on the move, constantly searching for an intricate pass here and there. Mlondo. Rugunana now. In front of the cameraman, in front of Fano. Mlondo. Majola. Mlondo again. Cleared from Ravina. Royce Malachi fouled. Gave a bit of a glance to Pamase. Just 60 more seconds to go of this first half. Ashton Pierre urged onto his feet by the referee, Chola Chansa. That's a bit sloppy from Mlondo. As Bomase, the only player to have really find himself in good positions in this first half. This will be concerning for South Africa. Dlamini is a tough cookie. And he's likely to carry on here, and that's a really reckless challenge from Fanor. Some real intent in that challenge, and again, no booking. And yes, although this match might not be of significant consequence, doesn't really matter what happens here, but challenges like that do deserve to be punished. Mlondo picks it up and drives. Majola now for South Africa, looks to turn. Fanor. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how the first half shall end between South Africa and Mauritius. And South Africa have fully and thoroughly dominated Mauritius in this first half, scoring 3 goals in the first 15 minutes. Palmer scored first after a wonderful free kick from Royce Malachi. And then Buhloko as well as Sekotso knocked in a goal of their own not too long after. Royce Malachi has definitely been the standout performer in this first interval. And that is how things end after the first 45. Mauritius have been put to the sword by Amajimbos because it's 3-0 in favor of the hosts. South Africa could have gone to ground, but did really well to stay on his feet. Neil Buhloko, nice little 1-2. South Africa may be in here. Buhloko might have just gotten a stud or two on that one, and it's well kept in by Rugunanan. Foul. Clear foul. Chola Chansa on the scene. Bit of a bombastic midfielder. It's going to be Royce Malachi towards the far post. Really good delivery in. Pinpoint, accurate ball in. And it's been tucked away from the captain on the day, Palmer. Arrived late around the back and not at home. A brilliant ball in from Royce Malachi. It's been given the captain's armband by Vela Kumalo against Mauritius from a simple set piece. But that delivery from Royce Malachi, a real joy to behold. And a clever header from Palmer, just nodding it across the face into the opposite corner of the net. Great take from Rugunanan. It's a scintillating delivery and switch across the face. Another chance there. Neil Buhloko is never, ever going to miss an opportunity like that, and South Africa are off. South Africa are playing some sweet stuff in Auckland Park this afternoon. Rugunanan getting in on the action, and the man that just can't stop scoring, Buhloko, nails in another. It's his second goal of the COSAFA Under-17 Championships, and he took it quite well. Great endeavor from Sekotso, Ukosi, Maralitse, Stevens, and of course Emil Witboy. And this time, the changes have yielded 3 goals in rapid time for South Africa. They just can't get enough. Scores his second of the tournament. 14-year-old will likely feature in the next Under-17 COSAFA Champions. To Mauritius. Welcome back to you and yours for one last 45-minute interval. One last half of group stage action.
Substitution for Mauritius.
Mauritius are going to make their second alteration. Elinio Wagat
And coming in jersey number
is
11,
thrown into the mix.
Akasi.
Surprised to not see him start in this match, and South Africa also going to make a change of their own. It's the fullback, Unu, that will come on together with the goalkeeper, Luke Holden.
And coming in jersey number 16, Luke Holden.
So two changes at the back then. Luandiso Hadebe of Supersport United is replaced by Holden of Mamelodi Sundowns. South Africa outclassed Mauritius in the first half, and although they have one eye on the semi-final showdown with Zambia, they've been sure to dispatch Mauritius in that first half. But will that continue in the second stanza? Will South Africa be that hungry, be that relentless as they were? Pama, who's flying down this right-hand side, and taken out by Balia, who has been appropriately booked by the referee, Chola Chansa. South Africa raced to a 3-goal lead in the opening 15 minutes or so, and they've made a really fantastic start to this second half as well, courtesy of the enduring and endearing Palmer. These two over the ball again. Royce Malachi and Rugunanan. Tashil Rugunanan. He'll be desperate for his first goal of the tournament, as will Royce Malachi be. And it's going to be Malachi. Punched by Augustine is a good one, and then he was clattered right thereafter by Boyson, who arrived late. It's a good bit of goalkeeping from Augustine. He was rendered helpless and isolated in that first half. Couldn't do much about either one of those three South African goals. It's a wayward ball from Royce Malachi. Anahalana. That one is likely just to crawl out of play. And there is the goalkeeper, new goalkeeper should I say, Luke Holden, replacing Mosia. Actually hails from these parts, does Luke Holden. Currently studying at St. David's, Maristananda. Very good school in Santon. Royce Malachi. Was given free license to spray passes all around the field of play in the first half, Royce Malachi. Londo couldn't quite get there in time. Does drop very nicely for Unu, who's always on the charge. Another punch, heroic punch from Augustine does the trick. Rugunanan much more central this time around. And then a massive miscue from Rabaye, who is strangely enough actually played as a striker for Mauritius before in this tournament. Now he's occupying the centre half role. This is the earlier stop from Augustine. One for the cameras. Certainly a pretty save, and a pretty decent save too. Majola was initially thinking that he was going to be in charge of the corner kick, but he relinquishes responsibilities to Tashil Rugunanan. We saw that signal from the likes of this time it comes from Rugunanan and Majola, and Halana in the way for Mauritius, and wisely just knocks it off a South African player by the name of Mlondo. It's an easy cutout for Dlamini. And then Boyson steps out to deal with the matter. Rugunana tries to pluck it out of the sky. Difficult for one to get a handle on. But here's Munu to Rugunanan. Always tries to go forward for South Africa. Just such a good sign for a young man. It's well cut out by Makrasha. He's been flawless so far. Here's Mlondo though for South Africa. Beaten to it by Rabaye. Boyson to Royce Malachi, who is currently being monitored by Nabi's coaching staff. He's also been on the fringes of the senior side at Kaizer Chiefs. And he's also been a great watch during this tournament, mostly used as an impact sub. Today he gets his first full start. Royce Malachi. Sekhoto has his pockets picked by Noah Marie. Here's Fanor. Boyson does well enough. Then gives away a free kick after initially he seemed to have dealt with the situation. And it wasn't exactly purposeful. He just stepped on Fanor's Achilles tendon, I think, or in that region of the foot. Fanor was himself unafraid to go full throttle into those 50-50 duels. Crunched a few South African players in the first half, and he was crunched over there. Luke Holden constructs his three-man wall. And in charge of this free kick for Mauritius is their centre-half, Rabaye, who was actually the captain in the last match. Rabaye now for Mauritius. And it's gone all the way in. It beat Luke Holden when it seemed as if he had it covered. So not the greatest bit of goalkeeping from Luke Holden, but take nothing away from a wonderful free kick from Rabaye. Free kick was won by Fanor, and Rabaye got the better of Luke Holden. So Mauritius have struck first in this second half, and that is actually their first goal in this tournament. Just bounced in front of Luke Holden, failing to gobble it up. And you feel for the young man, because he would have been filled with nerves. And it's a massive occasion. And he couldn't quite repel that free kick. So Mauritius have been given a route back into this contest. Saw how Zambia afforded a few opportunities to Eswatini, allowed Eswatini back into the contest, and Amajimbos have done something similar against Mauritius. error from Luke Holden is certainly not the end of the world. Can't let it define him for the remainder of this match, for the remainder of this tournament. There's a reason why Velo Khumalo has chosen him to be part of this squad. And you would think that South Africa have a big enough cushion. These two again. Two members of the village. Bunanan or Malachi. He has scored a free kick for Kaizer Chiefs in the under-17 GDL, and it really was a spectacular free kick. What can he produce? Range. Nearly carbon copy. And a good stop from Augustine. Down low to his left-hand side. Does have a real wand of a right boot, does Royce Malachi. And he did what he needed to do, force the save out of Augustine. It's a mixture of zonal marking and man-to-man marking by Mauritius. Rugunanan whips one in there, this time not convincingly dealt with by Augustine. And South Africa are going to get another corner kick despite the protests by the Mauritian players. This time Majola will be in charge of this free kick instead of Rugunanan. It's a good ball from Majola. Free header for Palmer. And then it's another good stop from Augustine to deny Royce Malachi. Bihari is hurried. Sekhoto judged to have committed that foul. Majola to Mlondo. Just like those two Kaizer Chiefs players I mentioned, Royce Malachi and Butloko. Some of the Mamelodi Sundowns players like Maralitse and Stevens were also part of that Sundowns squad that featured in the Home of Legends Cup in the Eastern Cape. So it may even be next year that some of these players form part of the strong senior sides and take part in the PSL top flight. But you wouldn't want to push them too early. There's no point in hyping up a young talent only just to break them down again. You really do need to be quite cautious. This is a crucial phase in their career, a crucial age group, that being the under-17s. Good catch from Holden. Flamini. So just like that earlier goal was the first goal that Mauritius have scored in the competition, was also the first goal that South Africa conceded during the competition as well. So their mighty fine defensive record, their unblemished defensive record, has come to an end this afternoon. Better now than in the semi-finals if you're a South African supporter. Boyson to Palmer. Here's Sekhoto. great stuff from Dlamini. Gliding past a few Mauritian players, but then he gives the ball away, uncharacteristically so, to Fano. Now Balia for Mauritius. Another Mauritian goal would make this contest very interesting. Dlamini, that's nice stuff from Mlondo. And look who's giving chase, it's Zekoto. There's always best for the ball. Rugunanan, Majola. It's Rugunanan, and it's taken off his toes by Ravina. Here's Nigel Mardet. Conspicuous in the first half was Nigel Mardet. A little bit more involved in the second period. There he is. It's not the greatest kick from Ashton Pierre. Palmer rolls Fano, who leaves something on him. It's not the first time he's niggled at a South African player. Palmer. Ball nearly reaches Mlondo. Drops kindly for Majola, who can't rifle it into the back of the net. But a chance nonetheless for South Africa. Mlondo did look favourite for that ball, for that pass. Dlamini. Here's Zekoto over the top to Mlondo, who was his target, but it did reach Augustine in the end. So Simpiwe Mlondo of Mamelodi Sundowns did win the Under-16 Top Goal Scorer Award at the Kaapstad Cup in Cape Town in October. He's been one of the finest goal scorers in the GDL. Yet to score a goal for South Africa in this tournament, Mlondo, but not for a lack of trying. Dlamini to Rugunanan, whose role has definitely changed since Munu has come on for Amajimbos. Zekoto. Mlondo. Quickest to the scraps. Rugunanan with a nice little lift to Zekoto, who does well. And it's left by Rugunanan and lashed over the top by Mlondo. Zekoto really does know how to lose a defender, and Mlondo really knows how to hit them. Just failing to hit the Mauritian target. Rugunanan. Zekoto. Royce Malachi a little bit more advanced in this second half, you know. Rugunanan slowly drifting closer to that 18-yard box. Majola doing the same for South Africa. That's a gorgeous ball from Majola. Here's Royce Malachi. Rugunanan. Nearly. And it's out for a throw. Good bit of skill there from Parmase. Here's Fano. That's neat. This is Mlondo. He was fouled by the already booked Ravina. Played short by Dlamini. To the glamour boy left back, Rugunanan. There's a very speculative attempt from Makasha. There's just a player in need of some medical assistance, and that player is Ashton Pierre. There's quite a bit of strapping around his left thigh and hamstring. So it'll just cause a bit of a stoppage. South Africa and Mauritius can press pause. Abu Twaleb Fatima Modi, the head coach of this Mauritian side, will definitely be pleased by the fact that they have finally scored a goal in this tournament. It's the one thing that they were looking for before returning home. Rabaya doing exactly that, as he just curled the ball beyond Holden, who just misjudged the way in which he went down to ground. Augustine, chested down by Royce Malachi to his club and country teammates. Three Kaizer Chiefs players spread across right the middle of the pitch. Rugunanan, who really has an impressive youth record so far. 2022 GDL Under-13 League winner with Chiefs. 2022 Randburg Friendship Cup Under-15 Player of the Tournament. 2022 Chiefs Under-13 Player of the Year. 2022 Chiefs Under-13 Players Player of the Year as well. You get the picture. He's won a multitude of awards in the colours of Kaizer Chiefs as Rugunanan. And it's no surprise that Vela Kumalo has called upon his services. He is regarded by many as the best left fullback in the youth system. Here's Dlamini, Tumpunu, Rugunanan. It was clipped there by Noah Marie, but he soldiers on. Royce Malachi playing on the right-hand side now of the attack of the midfield, just like he did against Botswana, the match that South Africa won by 4-0. They scored 2 goals in that first half and then 2 goals in the second period. But so far, very much smooth sailing for Vela Kumalo's Chargers. It certainly won't be this way when they take on Zambia next, or this Wednesday, should I say. Dlamini, nice ball, nice touch from Mlondo, and then a hit. Might have just kissed the crossbar or kissed the roof of the net. Yes, it was a wonderful attempt. Well stolen from Dlamini. Lovely little flick there from Mlondo. And then Majola just landed on the roof of the net. Boyson, very strong, too strong on Fanor. Abu Twaleb Fatima Mode is going to introduce another change. Aaron Clifford Fong Leong comes on.
Jersey number 6, Aaron Clifford Fong Leong.
A hop, skip and a jump, and he's ready to go is Fong Leong. Started both of the matches against Comores and then Botswana. Now he's being introduced as a substitute, so slightly altered role for Fong Leong. He'll likely just slot into the midfield. as we slowly head toward the 71st minute in this contest, South Africa still have a 2-goal cushion over Mauritius. Speaking of Mauritius, their number 9, Fanor, one of their most instrumental players, is hobbling off the field of play. He's been nursing an injury throughout the tournament. Skips off the surface now. There's also some activity on that Mauritian bench as well. Suna C is likely to replace Fanor, but that shall be confirmed for you shortly, if it is to be the case. Free kick for Mauritius here, due to a mistimed challenge from Dlamini. So I wonder what Zambia have made of this South African performance so far, and what South Africa made of Zambia's performance against Eswatini. Balia. Both Zambia and South Africa have just conceded the 1 goal during this year's COSAFA Under-17 Championships. The qualification process for COSAFA affiliated nations to try and take part in next year's Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. 12 teams entered the contest, but only 4 will progress into the next stage. And talking about the other match that is currently taking place in Pimville, Soweto, at halftime it was 0-0 between Botswana and Comores. Neither one of those two sides actually were able to unleash a shot on target. Remember, it's going to be either between Botswana and Zimbabwe for that final semi-final spot. Botswana have to win. Londo looks to get that 1-2 going again. So South Africa's performance at this event in what is their home tournament is the 3rd time in a row that they will qualify for the semi-final stage. They failed to do so in 2019, did so in 2020. They were absent, believe it or not, in 2021. Were semi-finalists again, and finalists, should I say, in 2022. They are going to be semi-finalists once more in 2024. Always up there, together with the Zambians and the Angolans. Nana just seemed to have tripped himself up, but he's been afforded a free kick that he himself takes. Palmer. Just like Emil Witbooi, earning his stripes in the Cape Town City Academy, is Palmer. Unu is challenged legally in the eyes of the referee, as Boyson steps up to make the challenge and then tries to rocket it into the top corner. Didn't miss by a whole lot, did Boyson? A double change for Mauritius. Suna C wearing the number 7. He's replacing Fanor. It looks like there's going to be a change in the defense. Mind you, Made, the attacker, is going to come off for Olivier, who's actually a centre-half, but I think because of his frame, he'll maybe slot into the attack, although he's making his way now to the heart of that defense, maybe as a central defensive midfielder. So a lot of these youngsters can play in a multitude of positions, which is a good sign for the rest of their careers to come. Jack of all trades is Olivier. Here's Majola. Always always seems to be lively and sparky when he gets the ball. Palmer. Royce Malachi is now playing as a right back. Could reach Royce Malachi now, doesn't. Anahal Anna does what he needed to do. It's easy as you like from Rabaye. Boyson. Does really well. It was quite tricky for him to deal with. Rugunanan receives some applause from the crowd. Some roars too. It's been a little bit subdued after that first 15-minute spell from South Africa. Rugunanan, they've certainly outpassed Mauritius. We're heading into the final quarter between these two sides. It's been a terrific match. South Africa could be in here again. They really do knock it about with confidence, especially when they are in and around the box. Still waiting for Vela Kumalo to make a few more changes, might do so in the final few exchanges. Just so that Maralitse, perhaps Mokokosi and Stevens and Mlangeni can get a runabout. Well, last time that signal indicated a short ball. Short again. Mauritius read it. Good delivery in. Mind you, he might have gone for goal. Augustine wasn't to know. Majola, a 14-year-old with heaps of confidence, opted for the spectacular. Rabaye. Royce Malachi. Now Sekoto, it's given away by Royce Malachi, probably for only the second time in the second half, and his mistake results in a Mauritian free kick opportunity, and you can already see the big boys making their way into the box, although Anna is telling the substitute Olivier to stay, but coach is now urging Olivier into the box. Knock short from Anahal Anna, needs to be put in there from B. Harry, and he goes for goal. It's a simple waste. It's such a waste. Luke Holden restarts the action. Majola does deserve a goal, as does Mlondo. Dlamini. Mlondo really almost took it off the toes of Rabaye. Here's Sunasi. Unu goes to ground. In the last COSAFA Under-17 Championship, which is more than 2 years ago now, South Africa was seeded in the same group as Zambia. And although Amajimbos progressed through the group phase and breezed past Malawi in the semi-final, they lost not once against Zambia, but twice. It was enough to qualify for the last Under-17 AFCON tournament, but not enough to be known as the best of Africa's southern region. That's the tag, that's the status they'll be striving for over the next coming days. But they are likely to see this one out against Mauritius. Londo gets that pass wrong. As for Mauritius, they've had an interesting relationship with this competition, with the Under-17 COSAFA Championship. They finished third in 2017, finished fourth in 2018 in what was their home tournament. But Mauritius haven't been back since until this year, that is. So a 6-year hiatus comes to an end in 2024. And the return to the competition has been marked by 1 point and 1 goal so far. Bihari. Ravina is not playing as a centre half anymore. I think he's swapped with Bihari. Offside here. Seem to be very close. Let's have a look-see. Fong Leong was making the run. Did he time it well? I think he did, you know. Boyson was trying to play him offside, but it's a lucky escape that time around for Amajimbos. Majola loses out. Dlamini. Pam to Dlamini again. Might be the time of the game where we might start seeing a few more showboating. Ravina gets away with it, so does Olivier. We'll definitely look to launch this one with Ravina. Royce Malachi. That's what he does best. Pama. Rugunanan. It is the modern trend these days for fullbacks to be more than accustomed to playing in the midfield, and that's exactly what Rugunanan is doing now for South Africa, due to the introduction of Unu. So 2 left fullbacks on the field, 1 is playing in the midfield. There's no question that over the years in the Sterling football event, that South Africa and Zambia have become what some might call arch rivals. Those 2 arch rivals will meet in less than 48 hours' time. I think discussions are already taking place of South Africa, as much as Kumalo and his coaching trio are watching this one and paying close attention to this one. Definitely be discussing future plans to use against the Zambians. Holden to Palmer. Lamimi to Palmer. As for Mauritius, when they last fielded an under-17 unit for this competition, which was in 2018, the nation was made proud by a very impressive and a very resilient team, a team that lost their first group match against Botswana, but somehow rallied to defeat both the Seychelles and Namibia. They actually lost to South Africa when they met them in the semi-finals in 2018 in Mauritius. This time they meet in Auckland Park. Completely different as well. Not well enough. Ravina searches for Fong Leong. The midfield has been asked to play as the focal point now for Mauritius. Palmer might have just put too much on that pass. He did. Mauritius have certainly not been as impressive or nonchalantly confident as they have been in the past, as many expected them to be before the competition kicked off. But here's Fong Leong. Still Fong Leong faces up against Palmer, who got the last touch. And Fong Leong slides in. And on a separate issue, the island nation of Mauritius have also been wonderful hosts themselves of this competition in the past. The nation opened its doors in 2016, 2017 and 2018 in order to host spectacular firework displays. Dlamini to Rugunana. Just a few more minutes to go. South Africa still have the 2-goal lead intact, but anything can happen. Sunasi for Mauritius. And they need to go forwards, and they keep on going back. Well, that changed this time around with Pamase. Bihari, good spot from Bihari. Sunasi, good sliding challenge from Boyson. It wasn't good, you know, it wasn't, and it's a penalty to Mauritius. Thought he was going to time it well, but he did the exact opposite. It's a brainless decision from Boyson to go to ground. In fact, upon further introspection, that's a dive. Carried some favor from the referee, but the referee bamboozled us all. Mauritius have a penalty kick and a chance for redemption from Luke Holden. He'll definitely be so eager to stop this penalty from Ravina. Captain of Mauritius score their second goal of the competition and score their second against South Africa and set up a grandstand crescendo finish. Or Holden made up for his earlier error. It's Ravina against Holden. Ravina steps up, Holden guessed the right way, couldn't lay a glove on it, and now Mauritius are within one. Sunasi, the orchestrator of that penalty. And now they're up for it.
3 South Africa, 2 Mauritius.
This game was simply just petering along. And now Mauritius have a shot to draw level. We saw an entertaining, thrilling 4-4 draw between Zimbabwe and Namibia earlier on in the day. Might we see a 3-all? Holden guessed correctly, but there was just too much venom on the strike, and it was well placed in the end from Ravina. And South Africa strike back. Or will Mauritius level up late on? So the first half was comfortably won by South Africa, but Mauritius are winning the second half. Of course, football doesn't work that way. 3-2 nonetheless. Unu keeping the ball close to the corner flag. And I'm not too sure what wrong he did there. Be it as it may, peculiar call from the referee. Play continues. Boyson misjudges his header.
Concentration, guys, concentration.
South Africa need to remain calm here, knock the ball about like they have been doing throughout the match. They can't afford a mistake like that. This time no foul for Mauritius, to the absolute fury and frustration of Abu Twaleb Fatima Modi. Dlamini. And then a hit again from Mlondo outside of the box. A little bit too much on it once more. Anahal Anna Still down. And that's a nasty, nasty challenge. From behind as well. But the referee turning a blind eye. That's exactly what he's telling Chola Chansa of Zambia. Studs up challenge from behind. Deserves to be punished. It wasn't. And this version of Amajimbos are indeed aspiring to become the 4th under-17 South African team to win this competition on home South African soil. The outcome of the 1994, 2002 and 2020 editions will forever be cherished by those South Africans that won it. But there's a new ambitious generation that yearn for the same glory. And there is no doubt that the players out in the park this afternoon, as well as the players that have already taken to the COSAFA stage, all of them would know that this competition is a fantastic springboard for their careers. And whatever may happen today, this current crop of South African youngsters are seeking to follow in the footsteps of Dalron Buckley 30 years ago, Aaron Mokoena, and more recently Mduduzi Shabalala and Siyabonga Mabena, who took home the Golden Boot Award with a jaw-dropping 9 goals in 5 matches during the last tournament. There's been an even spread of goals for South Africa this time around. That's good stuff, really good stuff from Mlondo. Just tried to flick it over the foot of Noah Marie. Balia. Mauritius on the front foot. They've got 5 minutes to try and level up. It's been a frantic finish to this game. South Africa have been in total cruise control. They've dominated for last parts, and yet they can still drop points. Football is definitely a funny old game. Royce Malachi, if you haven't noticed, has stepped back into the midfield. Sekhoto to Malachi. Majola. This is what South Africa need to do. This is how they keep Mauritius at bay, how they keep the scoreline intact. Sekhoto to the substitute, and now Royce Malachi. Good clearance from Ravina. Sekhoto blocked, stopped in his tracks by Rabaye. Boyson. Good credit to South Africa. They aren't passing the ball back to the goalkeeper. They're trying to move forwards, although the scoreline is in a very precarious state. Palmer loses out. See, that's the danger. If you lose possession while attacking, Mauritius are very well capable of counter-attacking. And isn't it just interesting how Mauritius, both of their 2 goals have arrived from the dead ball, from the free kick and then the penalty spot. Rugunanan can be really proud of himself in this match. Mlondo, and then Rabaye shuts the door together with Fong Leong. Still Rugunanan. Referee stops play, so there might be some added time piled onto the stoppage time, the designated stoppage time that was 5 minutes. And the goalkeeper went down, Augustine. No real player was close to him, so it's definitely a muscle injury. Unlike the South African goalkeepers that have been shuffled out and substituted by Villa. Abu Twaleb Fatima Mori has relied solely on Augustine. The score of the first Rabaye. There's the Zambian supporters. I think the ladies team there as well, together with some of the men's players, watching how this one will wrap up between South Africa and Mauritius. Just a few seconds to go. Palmer. But good on Mauritius for making this and turning this match into a contest after it didn't seem so in the first half, especially after that flying start from South Africa. Just like Eswatini, they've forced South Africa to do the hard work to earn their third victory in the competition. That's brilliant though from Dlamini. Anna clears Mauritius's lines. And there you have it. South Africa are going through to the knockout stage. South Africa have beaten Mauritius. South Africa just adore hosting this tournament. The three-time winners will march into the knockout phase with style and grace. Every opponent that has stood before them, South Africa have flatlined. South Africa have defeated. But what has fate got in store for them on Wednesday afternoon when they face Zambia? It's going to be a repeat of the 2022 final. And they would certainly not like the way in which that second half transpired. But nonetheless, courtesy of that 15-minute window in the first half, South Africa have beaten Mauritius by 3-2. See you again on Wednesday afternoon for the two semi-final showdowns.
Ladies and gentlemen, your player of the match for this match from South Africa, jersey number 13, Complimented Zimando.
Couldn't quite get there in time. Does drop very nicely for Unu, who's always on the charge. Another punch, heroic punch from Augustine does the trick. Rugunanan much more central this time around. And then a massive miscue from Rabaye. Strangely enough, actually played as a striker role. This is the earlier stop from Augustine. One for the cameras, but certainly a pretty save. And a pretty decent save too by Noah Marie. Here's Fanor. Boyson does well enough. Then gives away a free kick after initially he seemed to have dealt with the situation. It wasn't exactly purposeful. Rabaye now for Mauritius. And it's gone all the way in. It beat Luke Holden when it seemed as if he had it covered. So not the greatest bit of goalkeeping from Luke Holden, but take nothing away from a wonderful free kick from Rabaye. Free kick was won by Fanor, and Rabaye got the better of Luke Holden. So just bounced in front of Luke Holden, failing to gobble it up. And you feel for the Dlamini. Nice ball, nice touch from Mlondo, and then a hit. Might have just the or kissed the roof of the net. Well stolen from Dlamini. Lovely little flick there from Mlondo. And then Majola just landed on the roof of the net. Well, last time that signal indicated a short ball. Again, Mauritius read it. Good delivery in. Mind you, he might have gone for goal. Augustine wasn't to know. Majola, the 14-year-old with heaps of confidence. Bihari, good spot from Bihari. Sunasi, good sliding challenge from Boston. It wasn't good, really. A penalty to Mauritius. Brainless decision from Boyson to go to ground. In fact, upon further introspection, that's a dive. Ravina against Holden. Ravina's up, yes, the right lay on it, and now Mauritius are within one. Holden guessed correctly.